Germany is a country in northern Central Europe. Germany is bordered by Poland, Czech Republic, Austria, Switzerland, France, Luxembourg, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Denmark. Germany also has access to the North Sea and Baltic Seas, which gives it great opportunities to export and import products from its neighboring countries. As of German demographics, the population of Germany is 80.5 million as of July 2017. The age structure in Germany is 12.82% for people ages 0 to 14, 10.09% for people ages 15 to 24, 40.45% for 25 to 54, 14.58% for 55 to 64, and people who are 65 years and older accumulate for 22.06% of the population. So clearly, there is an aging population in Germany. It is really important to take into consideration about the age structure in a foreign country when investing, so you understand how dense and large your target market will be. Urban population in Germany is 75.7%. This means that 75.7% of the total population have access to consumer products and services. The population growth rate is negative 0.16%. The birth rate is 8.6 births per 1,000 people, and the migration rate is 1.5 migrants per 1,000 people. The literacy rate is 99%. And the labor force by occupation is agriculture at 1.4%, industry at 24.2%, services at 74.3%. Just like Canada, Germany consists of many natural resources. The resources in Germany are coal, iron ore, uranium, lignite, copper, potash, natural gas, nickel, and salt. The construction materials used are timber and arable land. The business culture in Germany is a lot like America's. Friendliness does not seem to be a factor into the trust equation. Germans also tend to be very direct in their communication. Criticizing a gentle way can be interpreted as weak. Ja means I'm listening, not agreement. They have reserved styles. Do not put your hands in your pockets and leave your suit jacket on at all times, even if it's warm. It is also really important to be punctual in Germany. These little details do mean a lot at the end of the day. As of major economic events in recent history, the 2008 global crisis negatively affected Germany and the German economy, as well as the rest of the EU, as Germany has the largest economy in the EU. In more recent events, the refugee crisis has also negatively affected Germany, as Germany was faced with unexpected expenses that the government would have to handle. The German political system is a democratic, federal parliamentary republic, and federal legislative power is vested in Bundesrat and Bundesstaat. Germany is currently in a coalition and has many political parties coming together to create new policies. The Chancellor of Germany is Angela Merkel, and she has been in power since 2005. As of the stability of the government, the coalition deal is on uncertain ground to scare off investors, as they are not sure if it is a wise move to make to invest in Germany, as the political system is very uncertain. For historical political background that may affect current business in Germany, Germany is strategically placed in the world's most active trading zones, which is really beneficial for the country and the economy, as Germany can easily trade with its neighboring partners. Germany's capital is Berlin, which is the country's largest city and has one of the most influential centers in European politics and culture. The government, however, is split by two cities, Berlin and Bonn, which is widely criticized as being a waste of money and time. For current political issues affecting business climate, the idea of coalition between parties in Germany has had difficulty, as different parties do not agree with Merkel's idea of having a common vision. This would make it very difficult to come up with policies that the new government can agree on, as there are 4 different political parties, which will furthermore affect the business climate. The coalition has a new policy where they will spend 12 billion euros on social spending, and that includes family, children, social measures, stability and pension, and how healthcare is funded, and how the use of fixed-term employer contracts are used. Although there are issues with the coalition, it is unlikely to derail the European Central Bank's engineered Euro area economic recovery that is benefiting from less restrictive policies that will in return improve the trading accounts and structural reforms. Aggregate demand, which is the total demand of all goods and services in Germany, has accelerated to 2.4% in the second quarter of this year. Price inflation has also remained well below the European Central Bank's 2% median target. The current account surplus from July 2017 shows that Germany, Spain, and Italy exports a large number of goods and services as the account has a $370 billion surplus. As of trade policies, countries within the EU are free from any duties in Germany, while countries from outside the EU are only at an average general tariff of 4.2% from common goods and industrial goods. Fabrics and foodstuffs have a higher customs tariffs of 17.3%, but are still protected within the EU, while outside the EU, there's a turnover tax of 19%. European Commission intends to deal with imports and exports, along with German customs. Germany's economy is a developed social market economy. Germany also has the largest national economy in Europe, and the fourth largest nominal GDP in the world, accounted for 28% of the euro area economy. Germany is also a founding member of the European Union and Eurozone. In 2016, Germany recorded the highest surplus in the world at $310 billion. Currency-wise, 1 Canadian dollar equals 0.66 euro, and 1 euro equals 1.51 Canadian dollars. GDP per capita is $41,936.06 as of 2016, 0.91% annual change. The German economy lost momentum in the first quarter of 2018, with only a 0.3% growth compared to projected 0.4%, as Germany is the biggest contributor to the Eurozone. A slowdown due to Germany's involvement in the widely spread currency can suggest that the currency will slow down again in the future if Germany cannot keep up its economy. Germany's exports and imports combine for 86% of the entire GDP. Germany's unemployment rate is fairly low at 3.4%. Germany also averaged a 5.6% unemployment rate from 1949 to 2018. Germany also has an all-time high unemployment rate of 11.5% in 1950, but an all-time low of 0.4% in 1966. There's currently a strong economic run that is supported by domestic spending and global trade. People are not afraid to spend money because the unemployment rate is so low, and that also increases domestic demand. As of major exports and trading partners, the United States is first place with $125.9 billion US dollars, which accumulates for 8.7% of total exports. Number 2 is France at $118.6 billion US dollars, and that accumulates for 8.2%. Third is China at $97.6 billion US dollars, which equals 6.8%. The fourth is United Kingdom at $94.7 billion US dollars, and that is 6.6%. The fifth is Netherlands at $91.4 billion, which is 6.3%. For major exports, first is vehicles at $257.2 billion US dollars, which equals 17.8% of total exports. Second is machinery including computers, which is $245.4 billion US dollars. That accumulates for 17%. Electrical machinery and computers are next at $148.8 billion. That accumulates for 10.3%. Pharmaceuticals is $84.1 billion at 5.8%. Optical, technical, and medical apparatus is $72.8 billion, and that accumulates for 5%. On the other hand, major imports and importing partners. First place is China at $105 billion US dollars, and China accumulates for 10% of total imports. Second is Netherlands at $92.5 billion at 8.8%. Third is France at $72.9 billion at 6.9%. Fourth is the United States at $65.8 billion with 6.3%, and fifth is Italy at $57.3 billion at 5.5%. So clearly, Germany does trade a lot with partners who are in the EU. So the question is, what is the balance of trade with Canada? Well, Germany exported $15,213,900,000 worth of goods, and Germany imported $4,432,200,000 worth of goods. This gives Germany a surplus of $10,781,700,000, which is quite a lot. As of any recent major events that negatively affected the German economy, there have not been too many major economic events, except for the fact that Germany did not meet the projected GDP growth by 0.1%. And also, there are no trade embargoes between Canada and Germany. This allows a lot of open trade.
Laws are made in Germany all through the federal chancellor, who must pass the bill to the Bundesrat, which means Federal Council. The Bundesrat is a legislative body that represents the 16 Länder meaning states. After the bill is introduced, the Bundesrat, otherwise known as Federal Council, has 6 weeks to comment on the bill before the government then gets to respond with a counter-statement. The bill, along with the Bundesrat, comments are then passed by the Federal Chancellor to the lower level of government in Germany called the Bundestag. One exception to this procedure is the Draft Budget Act, which is transmitted simultaneously to the Bundesrat and the Bundestag. Laws can also be put by members of the Bundestag, but they must have the support from 31 of their members. Bills introduced by the Bundestag don't have to be passed back to the Bundestag. Sometimes when the government needs a bill passed quickly, they get the Bundestag to introduce it. Prior to a bill being discussed on the Bundestag, it has to be given to the President of the Bundestag before getting printed and registered. The bill then gets debated 3 times in the plenary, which is known as the 3 readings. The objective of the first reading or debate is to select the committee who will ready the bill for its second reading. Prior to the second debate beginning, individuals get a recommendation on the bill. Voting then takes place during the third reading. If voted for, consent from the Bundestag is then needed, and if given, it can then be entered into the force. The minimum wage in Germany in 2018 is 8.84 euros per hour, which in Canada is 13.36, or around 1,498 euros per month, which in Canadian dollars is 2,264 Canadian dollars. As for who enforces laws in Germany, the criminal code applies to individuals instead of companies, and it is illegal to offer, pay, or accept a bribe from people in positions of power. Organizations and businesses can be charged civilly for corruption, as there is an act called the Regulatory Offences Act, which holds organizations civilly liable for corruption offenses committed by the representatives under the Act on Regulatory Offences, with fines up to 10 million euros and confiscation of all economic advantages obtained through bribery. For laws on investment or trade, yes, the German government and industry organizations actively encourage foreign investment in Germany. However, German laws provide foreign investors national treatment. Foreign investors may have a majority holding in the capital or local company. The foreign economic laws contain restrictions on private direct investments for reasons of foreign policy, foreign exchange, national security, public order. Germany is part of the United Nations, otherwise known as the UN, which is an intergovernmental organization responsible for maintaining international order and cooperation among society. Germany joined the UN in 1993 as full members. Germany is also involved in the IOM, which stands for International Organization for Migration, which is an intergovernmental organization that gives services and advice to countries regarding migration. Although Germany is a mid-sized country, it is one of the UN's best contributors financially, as Germany is an economic powerhouse worldwide and has been a member of the UN for 45 years. Germany was involved in a border dispute with the Netherlands in the German town of Embeden and Delfzijl in the Netherlands, where the Ems River empties into the disputed Dollar Bay area. However, Germany's foreign minister, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, and Dutch Foreign Minister Bert Koenders came to an agreement that the border will be ambiguous and both countries will share responsibility for the bordered area. Germany has also been a member of the World Trade Organization since January 1st, 1995. The World Trade Organization, otherwise known as WTO, deals with global rules of trade between nations. Its main functions are to ensure that trade flows as smoothly and predictably and freely as possible. In 2017, the German government gave the WTO 1 million euros, with the donation financing training workshops for officials in Geneva and elsewhere around the world, in order to help them better understand and implement WTO agreements. In 2013, Germany and Turkey were involved in an international dispute over ancient artifacts which Turkey had argued entered Germany illegally and belonged to them. However, Germany argued back that the artifacts had been in their possession for a number of years and came into Germany legally. This battle over antiques is affecting relations between the two countries. High-ranked officials, museums in Berlin say the Turkish government has broken agreements concerning corporations between the countries and is deliberately making it much harder for German archaeologists to work in Turkey. This dispute has yet to be resolved. Germany is a country which has huge infrastructure problems. As a country with a budget surplus of 23.73 billion euros, which in Canadian dollars is 26.7 billion and 0.8% of GDP. It has the lowest infrastructure investment rate of any big rich economy, which is very worrying, as without proper transportation routes, trade will be minimized as less safer routes for transportation are available in Germany. In the 1990s, Germany also invested a lot of money to incorporate the Communist East. 10 years later, what is known as the Euro crisis, which was the falling of many European countries' banking systems, starting with Iceland's and spreading to Italy, Portugal, Greece, and Spain, driving up deficits. Berlin put into place what was called a debit brake on federal and state governments, meaning the debit isn't growing, it could only decrease. Politicians found it easier to cut long-term outlays than the current spending. However, as you cross the bridge over Rhine at Leverkusen, you notice something strange. The bridge is closed. It was closed when cracks were discovered in the concrete. A replacement will be opened in 2020, but until then, trucks will have to find other ways across the Rhine. This is one of Germany's most crucial transportation corridors, near one of its biggest industrial hubs, yet among the thousands of vehicles that use it every day, there are no trucks. To outsiders, Germany can seem like a well-oiled machine, but its reputation as a paragon of efficiency obscures the fact that many roads, bridges, and public buildings are in shocking despair. Starved of investment for years, a lot of infrastructure is slowly collapsing. Germany's towns, cities, and rural districts have an investment gap of 126 billion euros, including a 34 billion euro backlog of spending on roads and 33 billion euro on schools. Germany's universal banking system lets the 36,000 bank offices take deposits as well as make loans to customers, but also to trade in securities. There are no reports of shortage of credit in the German economy. Credit is available at market-determined rates to both domestic and foreign investors. The traditional German system of cross-shareholding among banks and industry, as well as the high rate of bank borrowing relative to equity financing, allowed German banks to have substantial influences on industry in the past.
It is important to understand the culture of a country that you're about to invest in, so you can accommodate their values and beliefs. Major languages spoken in Germany are German at 95% and English at 59%. Having English as a really common spoken language is beneficial, as a lot of trade partners do speak in English from North America and other parts of Europe and around the world. The top 3 attractions are historical sites, food, and physical features. So, in Germany, the historical sites are Neuschwanstein Castle and Brandenburg Gate. Food, you can commonly see bratwurst and schnitzel. Physical features are the Berlin Wall, and that is a part of German history. The religions in Germany are Roman Catholic at 29%, Protestant at 27%, Muslim at 4.4%, and Orthodox Christian at 1.9%. Other is at 1.7%, and non-religious groups or recorded groups equal 36%. Major national holidays and ceremonies in Germany are Oktoberfest, Easter, Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and many more. It is important to know that Germany is a predominantly Christian country that celebrates Christian holidays and traditions. So when you're doing business in Germany, you have to take into consideration the holidays and timing of your business deals. There are a lot of benefits that Canada can realize of trading with Germany. There are many positives of trading with the EU, and that is due to the fact that currently NAFTA is unstable and unreliable, but the EU as a whole is Canada's second largest trading partner, and Germany is specifically the 8th. Although Canada is in a trade deficit with Germany, there are some positives for this, not just negatives. By having a trade deficit, this can encourage foreign direct investment into Canada, which will help Canada bring back its currency. Major downside of this is that you have people from foreign countries controlling the assets in Canada, and they have full control. Canadian consumers can also benefit from Germany due to the fact that there is more variety in the market and more consumer goods. For example, German cars such as BMW, Mercedes, Audi, and Volkswagen are in high demand in Canada, with BMW selling just under 45,000 vehicles in Canada last year. Volkswagen has also had a huge impact in Canada. Volkswagen just sold under 11,000 cars in the last month of April. Germany is also Canada's 4th largest direct investment contributor, and Germany is Canada's 7th largest EU destination for direct investment. The way that Canada can market its products in Germany and adapt to Germany is by having a lot of knowledge about the German culture and business culture. Canada does export a lot of its mechanical parts to Germany. Some companies that are well established in Germany are Magna, Linamar, and Martin Ria. These companies produce materials such as metals and car parts for automobiles. As Germany's automobile industry is large, it needs a lot of parts, so they always have car parts coming in and out so they can make their vehicles. Germany is also the 5th most competitive country in the world, while Canada is the 14th most competitive. So therefore, there will be a difference in the workplace and different corporate culture. There have definitely been adaptations. There still is a language barrier, even though 59% of the population does speak English. The way to deal with these language barriers is by marketing your product in German and being sure that the grammar and spelling is perfect. To conclude, Germany is a great place to invest in, as the geographical location of Germany makes it easy to trade with neighboring countries. Aggregate demand has raised 2.4%, so therefore there is a more overall demand for consumer products and services, which Canada can generate revenue from. As NAFTA is unstable, the EU is Canada's second largest trading partner, so there would be no better time than right now to strengthen trade and the relationships with the EU's biggest national economy. The lack of trade embargoes and difficult trade policies between Canada to Germany will benefit Canadian investors significantly, as it is not complicated to join in on this powerhouse economy and market. Germany has the largest population in the EU, along with a very qualified workforce with only a 3.4% unemployment rate. This is perfect for outsourcing to Germany and benefiting from its skilled workers.
The Canadian dollar has been growing instead of declining compared to the euro, so therefore, the Canadian dollar will be able to do more things in Germany, and Canadian investors will have more buying power in Germany. But on a slight downside, Germans will not have the buying power that they used to. A downside is that the German government is currently not the most stable, and that is why Germany experienced a lower GDP growth rate than expected by 0.1%. Although this does not sound too appealing, the European Central Bank's engineered a recovery system for the Eurozone crisis has proven to be very effective in stabilizing the economy, as without this, the GDP growth rate could have taken a larger hit.